Hey, what's up? So today I have for you a branded zombie deck profile. This deck really works well with itself because everything in the main deck, almost everything in the main deck is dark. So you can use branded fusion with your zombies very well to get out your Lebellion and then continue on from there. Um, Now with this deck, I also added another tiny little tech option just to have. That way you have even more floodgates because that's what zombies really like to do is floodgates. So let's go ahead and get right into it. So first we have the best zombie in the deck, Unizombie. So what this does, you could discard a card, increase the zombie's level by one, so you can target itself, and then it sends from the field. Sorry, sends from the deck to the graveyard a zombie monster and increases something by level by one. So you can make this rank 5 or rank 4, depending on what you choose, or if you decide to do both. Um, However, it locks you into only attacking with zombie monsters, which isn't going to usually be an issue because of your field spell. Now, next we have two Sharinori Solitaire. Um, so with this card, I cut it down to two because I had three in the other zombie deck. If you haven't seen it already, um, but this one's at two because I feel like it's one of the worst ones to have in like that you really don't necessarily need if you're already sending things to the graveyard anyway with Branded Fusion. So I cut it down to two because it's still nice to have, but it's not entirely necessary. Just with how consistent this deck can be. Um, you basically just summon it and tribute itself to special summon out Unizombie. That's all it does. So it can also summon out this card, Glow of Bloom. Um, Now with this card, uh, it's a little funky because you'd almost think, hey, yeah, I can send a Glow Up Bloom from the deck to the graveyard with Branded Fusion, but you have to be careful because it locks you into zombies no matter what you decide to do. So, what this basically is if this card is sent to the graveyard in any way, you can banish it from the graveyard, add a level 5 or higher zombie monster, or special summon if you have Zombie World out on the field from your deck. And it says in either case, you can only summon zombie monsters, so you want to be careful because they only become zombies whenever they touch the field with your field spell out. So next we have two Necro Banshee, which is also good to use for Brand of Fusion if you don't have Zombie World out. So if you need to send a Fallen Albaz in this, you can also get your Zombie World out with that. So that's one way to get into the graveyard. It's awesome. Um, if you already have Zombie World out, you would most likely want to use your Doom King as a material. You can send it to the graveyard with Branded Fusion, and then it could be special summoned next turn during the standby phase. Um, Doom King, what it does is you can basically, if a zombie monster activates the effect, you can negate that effect, or you can banish one monster on the field. You can only do that once per chain. You can only use one effect once per that turn. Um, it also special summons itself out in defense position if there is any field spell out in the field. So next we have our three other zombies. We have a Gozuki and two Mizukis. Gozuki's decent to have just for an option if you end up drawing it. However, other than that, it's good for if you have a zombie in your hand. You can send it to the graveyard. Well, if it's in your graveyard and you have a zombie in your hand, you can banish another zombie monster, and then you can continue on with that play. But then we also have Tumizuki, which special summons a zombie for the graveyard. With everything being a zombie with Zombie World out, this is an amazing effect to have because you can actually special summon out your fusions, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. So you want to keep that in mind. But that's it of our zombies here. So next we have this is also my other list. Three Effect Veiler. It's good as a light target and only a light target if you need it for your branded fusion cards. It's also good to have another negate too, but that's all that it pretty much is. So not much more to go into with that. Next, we have a very small danger package because it's still good in this deck. We have one Bigfoot, one Thunderbird, one Nessie, one Mothman, one Tsuchinoko, and one Jackalope. Um, they're just good to have. If you see them, you see them. If you don't, you don't. That's okay. Um, they're just good to hopefully get some other plays going on if you end up actually having a bad hand. Um, this one, they all have the same effect where you can reveal it, and your opponent picks at random in your hand, and if it's not the card that was revealed, then you can special summon it and draw. Um, However, if it was the card that you revealed, then it gets pitched, but there are different effects for whenever it gets sent to the graveyard. So, Um, this one, if it's discarded, it pops a monster on the field. This one pops a spell or trap. This one adds a danger monster from the deck to your hand. This one adds, or this one has both players draw one and then both players discard one. So it's a better Dark World Dealing. So, and then this one, it special summons itself out. And then this one, if it's discarded, it can add or special summon another danger from the deck. So it's really decent to have if you need to make a ranked floor play and you already haven't used your Mothman yet, or so on. So next, these are in different sleeves because I'm using them in a different deck right now. I didn't really feel like taking them out. But next we have our Albaz cards. So we have two Fallen Albaz. It's okay if you see it in your hand. It's better not. That way you can use your other things. And this is the tiny, tiny tech I have for this deck, which is Shaddoll Beast. This is only for Winda, which we'll see in our extra deck. But basically, if this gets sent to the graveyard, you get to free draw. So um, that's pretty much all it's good for. Next, we'll get into our branded spells. So we have three branded fusion, and that's honestly it. That's all you need. Now, if you want to run an Aluber, if you don't like this tech, then you can run a wherever it went. If you want to run an Aluber to make sure you have branded spells, then you can. But this one, I don't really recommend. It's up to you. So there you go. Branded Fusion, basically you can send anything from the deck to the graveyard, including Fallen Albaz, to special summon out your fusion monsters. So you can send these two if you need to lock out special summoning. You can send any of your zombies if you need to, most of them. But yeah, I think it's really awesome tech. So next we have the Zombie World Field spell, which basically turns everything on the field and graveyard into zombies on both sides of the field. Um, Really awesome floodgate. It's decent to have. It turns out it doesn't affect your branded at all because nothing requires really anything like zombie or doesn't require it. So next we have three Dark Ruler no more. I think I like the control. I really like how you just need to sometimes turn off their board in order to continue on with your stuff. Um, this deck is still a little bit, just like the other one, is also a little bit susceptible to hand traps and spell and trap cards. So next we have the two basics. We have a terraforming and a foolish burial because sometimes you need to get things into the graveyard. And then lastly we have our other floodgate, which is there can be only one. If you have zombie world on the field and they control a monster, then they have to send everything except for one monster because they control zombies at that point. Um, I think this is perfectly fine. Sometimes you might not see your branded fusions, but here's the thing. If you don't see any of these cards in your hand, then your deck is going to be mostly zombies in your hand. The odds of you drawing three of these and two of these are very slim, so you're already going to have your zombie plays to continue on with, or even your danger plays. But really awesome, awesome tech. So next, we're going to get into our extra deck, which I actually can provide for you today. So today we have two Lubellion. This is mainly what you want to summon out because this requires a Dark Monster and a Fallen of Albaz. So basically you want to Branded Fusion, and let me get these cards out here. You want to Branded Fusion with a Fallen Albaz. Your other options are Beast, um, Doom King, Banshee, or Glow Up Bloom. Those are the only ones you want to send off of Branded Fusion. However, if you decide to Branded Fusion using Fauna Albaz and Glow Up Bloom locks you into zombies, and none of your extra deck monsters are zombies. So I would only use this if you already have an established board and you need your Doom King. Okay. Um, this if you don't have your field spell, it's really good to just get out and have. Um, and then this, if you already have your field spell out, or if you have a way to get it out, even if it's in your hand, then you can send this. And then this is if you want to do the stall play, which I'll get to here in a second about Winda, or if you need that free draw. Okay. But those are basically the main ones you want to send. They're all decent cards to, send by. There's not really anything else in here because you can't send any Mizukis or anything because they are Earth, so they don't work. Um, you can send Unizombie, but that's usually not a good idea because you don't need it in the graveyard. It's better on the field. So, um, but that's usually our first target. Next, we have two Mirror Jade. Whenever that actually activates, um, you can actually chain Doom King's effect to also banish another one, so you get two double banishes with Doom King and Mirror Jade. And then we have two Albion, that's for your Mirror Jade send, and then we have a Titaniclad, and then a Sprint. These are also targets for this, so that way you have four possible sends. But these also can be used for your fusion summons. So this one's a Fauna Albaz and one monster with 2,500 attack or higher. So you can also use Doom King with it. It's also a decent effect. And then Sprint is okay with an effects monster already special summon on the field. So let's say something that you already have in your graveyard that you wanted to use for your fusion, or you don't have anything in your deck that you really want to use, and you want to continue with this, you have another option there. And then we have our Winda. Uh, this basically they only get one special summon per turn, and with Winda you can summon it out, and then if you have other ways in your hand to get Glowbloom into the graveyard, which normally you would normal summon out your Unizombie or something like that, then you have your Winda play. Um, and then next we have a Linkuriboh for your Glowbloom. If you end up drawing it, then you can use Linkuriboh to use this effect. We have two Abyss Dweller for even more Floodgate. You could possibly have Winda, Abyss Dweller, Zombie World, and there can only be one on your field, and that is super, super hard for them to get around. If you end up doing that, you pretty much have the game. So, and then we have Link Climbing, IP, and Appaloosa, and then we have Durgaris for extending your plays if you need it. Um, and other than that, and that's it. This deck I think is really fun. It's really cool. I think there needs to be a little bit more support before you could play it competitively. But I think it's really awesome. I think it's really cool. So let me know if you like it. And also, if you want to see test hands, try to like the video. Try to get to like 10 or 20. I don't know. If I feel like it goes over 10 and I want to do it, I'll do it. But if you want to see some test hands and like some plays that I can show you, definitely let me know in the comments. Thanks.